I don't know why your hair looks so much like Boris Johnson.
Next slide, please.
I have a picture of me holding Chris by the throat.
Are we going to be okay here?
China.
27 million views.
Wow.
Hello and welcome back to the Dare to Venture podcast with your host, me, Chris.
And me, Tamira.
And we are on episode number 5.
I know, I can't believe it. It's absolutely crazy. And we've got so much to talk about that I never had any idea that we had to talk about.
I don't know. We've filled 4 episodes so far. We've got a 5th one coming for you today. And the target was 6. So next week will be our last episode number 6. And then we'll have kind of a season break for a little while. And then we'll come back with season 2. So I think have you enjoyed it? I think I've really enjoyed it.
I've really enjoyed it. I do think that we have to get the timing a little bit better. We seem to kind of be filming at
the same time every time.
20 to 11.
Again.
Why is it 20 to 11?
This is the podcast time. It's like the lights down podcast time.
I think it's the main thing of like the girls are like in bed and it's all quiet. There's no drilling going on. It just seems to happen. So we are eventually here. I can't believe I'm still awake and it is just our podcast time.
So we're on episode number 5 today and we are going to be talking about China. Everything to do with China, but we're going to be doing it a little bit different
which
today.
We will reveal after. We're going to go with what is new with us this week.
Yes.
Before we head on, we are going to be talking about China.
Yeah.
I've got a different kind of idea, which I don't really know how it's going to work, but we will be going through it. But let's go with what is new with us. And I'm going to go first. Okay. What's new with us is this week we finally found a new church to be going to.
Yes,
on a Sunday. So we are Christian and we have attended a few churches along the way of traveling. And before we left the UK, we made it very important to us to be going, and it made such a difference to us as a family as a whole. But we've kind of been on and off, and finally we've gone to a church service on Sunday. We really enjoyed it. The children went into Sunday school. Olivia actually went to a youth group to start off with
before the service,
which was really nice, and this was through friends as well, so it was actually a really lovely experience to be going with them, and it was really, really nice, and it was really wholesome, and I'm really kind of glad that we found that. So we did church, and on the top of that, just a little bit of icing on the cake, we just found the best Italian in Penang. We didn't find it. Friends took us there.
Our friends took us there, and our Sundays are really becoming like a big event. We've got church in the morning, which is really good for us. Like, it really is important, and it really does make a big impact to us as a family. So it was really nice to go there. And then we went to this incredible Italian, and obviously Penang, we're in Southeast Asia. You can get good, amazing
food everywhere.
Yeah.
Like even when we were in Thailand, even wherever we've been, we've always had Italian food, and it's always a twist.
It's always been
China. We've had Italian food in China,
and it's always been good. And Penang is known for amazing food of all different cultures and different cuisines. But this Italian food, it took me back to Rome. I literally loved it. It was
very, very nice. It was really good. What did you have? Because we were going for a workout afterwards, so we weren't allowed to overfill ourselves.
No. I had carbonara, which is like one of my favourites.
Yeah,
it
was absolutely fantastic. I went for a sandwich panini option.
And it had all like the meats in.
Yes, it was so nice. It was lovely with mozzarella. The bread was really tasty.
It was like top quality Italian food and ingredients. It was so good. The chefs made it all in front of us.
Yeah.
It was literally amazing. And I think that there was a group of us. I think there was 8 of us in total, and the bill came to around £70. So very, very reasonable, and especially when you think of how many of us there were, and we all had a meal. It was super nice. And if you're ever in Penang, it's called Bottega, and it is so good. It's in Georgetown, Penang. Honestly, you've got to try it.
It was really, really good. What else is new with us? I'm going to take over and say my parts, and you can say your parts. But it's just been Bella's 5th birthday. And I can't believe it because we're coming up to more of her life being out of the UK than being in the UK. She's just turned 5. She was just shy of 3 when we left the UK, but it was really nice. And I don't know, it's really emotional to see that another birthday. This is her third birthday outside the UK.
It's crazy. We left with a 2-year-old and now we've got a 5-year-old, and it just shows you time flies, and it always echoes back to why we're doing this.
Yes, yeah.
And you just think time flies, and those years of Bella's life going from 2 to 5, we have had her 100%.
Yes.
It's been incredible.
It's been incredible. It was just as Tuesday. We decided, right, it's Bella's birthday. We're not celebrating it at the weekend when we're off work, when we're all together. We'll just have the day because we can do that. We can choose to have the day together. And she had the most magical day. She had I think she had 6 presents. Is that right?
I think so.
I think Olivia and Scarlett chose about 4 of them. So it was really nice and wholesome, and like there was no balloons, there was no banner. We can do that if we wanted to, but we didn't on this occasion.
Well,
and Bella was so happy.
She was so happy. We don't overdo it on birthdays and Christmases. We do what we can, and we're all used to it, and we all love it. We live this lifestyle, and that's what we're doing, and they're amazing. Like we love our birthdays and our Christmases, and Bella had such a lovely day. Like she was on top of the world the whole day. She was walking around with a tiara on as a princess the whole day, and we all had to just say yes.
It was a yes
all
day.
Of her demands.
Yeah, it was a yes day. Like you put the idea in her head for a yes day. And it's come from that film, Yes Day, and it's like it's Scarlett's dream to have a yes day, but Bella was gifted it.
I think she woke up like opening her eyes, only just opening her eyes, and said, "It's a yes day today."
Yeah. She had pancakes for breakfast, just because she wanted to, but then the other 2 got that as well, which was really nice. And then she had her presents, and then we went up to a hotel and used the facilities because she wanted a pool with some slides, which lo and behold, she didn't want to go on the slides at all because they were too scary to start off with. But throughout the day, the older 2 showed her how slow they were. That she did finally get on them, so that was pretty good. Okay, that's what's new with me on my side of the family. I've taken everything, so go on.
I literally don't have any new updates.
How's your birthday t-shirt that you're wearing?
My birthday t-shirt's great, snug, and comfortable. No, I don't really have anything new. You've covered everything.
I'm sorry. You must have something new of yourself.
No, I'm just ticking away. We've had a fantastic week. All those things is pretty much what's new with the whole family. So that is where we are.
Going on to the main topic, talking about China. China was something that put us on the map in social media. I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I think like that's when everyone kind of noticed what we were doing and everything, and then they fell in love with our story and what we were doing. But China was the biggie that pushed us further. So we're going to talk about our experience with that more today, dusting off the cobwebs of our memory.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it in a different way because I feel like the last few episodes, I think you do as well, that we're presenting our story and just going down memory lane. So today we're going to try and do it where we ask each other questions about our experience to see how this kind of comes across. I don't know why your hair looks so much like Boris Johnson kind of.
Does it? Fire away.
Do you need a buzzer?
Why do I feel like it's like the conference from 2020? Yes. Daily Mail.
Okay. My question.
Next slide, please.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Okay. My question is, why did we decide to go to China?
Why did we decide to go to China? It came out of nowhere, and it was back in our first year of travel. So it was in 2023. And we'd done Malaysia. We'd spent 3 months in Malaysia, and we'd gone over the border into Thailand. And the plan on our arranged route that we'd sorted out, we were doing 3 months in Thailand. So
Correct,
we're into that. Now we did, at that point, I think it's changed now, but at that point, when you enter Thailand on a tourist visa, as a British citizen, you get I think 30 days, and then you can renew your visa in Thailand for an extra 30 days, giving you 2 months. But then if you want to stay again any longer, you've got to go out basically and come back in to get another visa.
Effectively, a visa run.
Yeah, it's effectively a visa run.
Yeah.
So we had these ideas. It came to the end of the 2-month period and we had to leave.
What was the other country that
We were going to go to Cambodia or Laos at that point. It was very easy to cross over the border and go into another country, spend a week there or so, and then come back into Bangkok. But we sort of had this idea of going a little bit extra, and we saw some content on this transit visa. And actually, I'm going to say I watched a YouTube video from Joel Friend, who I really like. We've both seen him and Amelia, and we really like them. And I watched that video where they went to China. They went to Shanghai on I think it was a 144-hour transit visa at the time.
Yeah.
So I watched them do it, and it looked really accessible. So I worked it all out, and it turns out that we could, on our passport, you can fly into mainland China and they will grant you a transit visa. So you don't need to apply for any visas like before that. But the only snag was you had to be traveling on to a third country.
That was correct. And I remember us choosing Taiwan to go do that. And we did that. And I do now remember us going, we've got this option, which is absolutely crazy. And we got excited and thought, obviously, you think about China and you go, the Great Wall, we go to the Great Wall. But we realised that
at that point, the 144 hours, you could enter wherever you entered. There was certain points you could enter. Wherever you entered, you had to leave, and you couldn't leave that area. Mm-hmm. So we flew to Shanghai, and effectively we had to stay in Shanghai. But Taiwan and even Hong Kong, they're on the list of that can be a third destination, a third country, if you like, to travel on to. So we just went to China and then tagged on Taiwan before then flying back into Bangkok. But that's what happened. We chose to do that. We were like, we can do it. There's an option there.
It was pretty mad. It was a real whirlwind. Like, we didn't know if the visa would even work. Like, I think we even signed a declaration form getting on the plane to go to China saying we may be refused entry and it's not the airline's problem.
Yeah, we had to say.
So nervous. I think we did a whole video on it, actually.
Yeah, we were liable to obviously fund our way back to somewhere, and it wasn't on the airline.
To fill you with confidence when you're getting on a flight.
I mean, we'd only been travelling properly for 5 months at that point, and so to go to mainland China and with all these kind of things that you had like pre-assumptions on it, and the transit visa, will it work? Will we get there and be turned away? It was quite nerve-wracking.
It was really nerve-wracking, but it was kind of like in the period of time, which we still stand for now, of say yes more.
Yeah.
And if there's something that you want to go do, just go give it a go. Like, the worst case would happen is that we'd have to fork out for another flight out into another country, and we'd just do that. So that is why we first went ever to China.
And we wanted to go.
That was actually the reason.
That was the reason. We wanted to go.
Yeah.
It kind of like with this thing, like China, wow, okay, that's real now. We're going into travel.
Yeah.
And Shanghai, we're going to go with the kids to Shanghai. We're going to go for it. So that's why we decided to do it. It was possible, and that's why we went.
Yeah.
So we decided to go. That was what we did. And we went to China for the first time, went to Shanghai. So my question for you is, like, we had pre-assumptions of stuff, and we thought that it was going to be difficult, not even if we got in. So the getting in was the first bit. Then when we got in, we thought it's going to be a bit of a challenge. What was the first hurdle that we stumbled across when we first landed in China?
The fact that you couldn't pay for anything on card. So I do remember very clearly coming off a flight and being really thirsty. And I was wanting to go we saw a convenience store, normal thing that we've been doing. We'd just arrive at a destination, we'd go get some cash out, or we'd just go pay on card to go get a drink of water. Chris went in really tired. We were sat there. I sat there with the girls, just wanted some water and a chocolate bar, I think it was. And you went in and the card just did not work. Couldn't take Visa. He didn't speak any English. You spoke no Chinese. And the phones were not working. None of our applications were working. So you couldn't use Google Translate or anything. So we're kind of like, oh my God, we can't even buy some water right now. I think in the end, you went and got some cash out and did that.
The bank card would allow me to get cash out.
Yes.
But I couldn't use it in the shop.
No. So then we had cash, which we also, he did take, but eyebrows were kind of raised as why we're paying cash. But in the shorter period, we just paid in cash and just got through it on the 144 visa. But like, I think when we arrived for the longer period of time, it was really shocking that you just couldn't use your card anywhere, and your phone literally does not work. We didn't have like the SIM cards or anything. We just winged it and went through it. But when we went the second time, like I'm saying, the biggest shocking thing is not being able to pay on card anywhere, and on your visa, your international card just not usable, and having odd looks when you're paying with cash. And they have a counter thing. They don't count it themselves. They put it in a counter thing, and the fact that your phone literally does not work.
That your phone, as you know it, doesn't work. Yeah, big stumbling blocks, but we overcame all of them, as anyone does when they go. By the time we went for the second time, we knew about WeChat and Alipay.
Only half.
We kind of said it. We had it already pre-set up, so we were there ready to go. So yeah, the cash thing was a stumbling block. That was like the first hurdle that we faced.
Yeah, that was the first hurdle. I think it was pretty nuts. My question to you.
Okay.
How did we start working with a company in China?
Okay, so we went on the whim on the 144-hour visa, and we were just doing our YouTube content as usual. And obviously going to China, it was massive for us, and filming the content and the journey and how we felt when we got there. We just did it all as normal. Those videos did really well on YouTube. They were really well received on all of our platforms. When we came back, we obviously went to Taiwan. We filmed there as well. Everything was great there. Then we came back into Bangkok, and
we were in Chiang Mai, weren't we?
Yeah, so
this all happened in Chiang Mai.
It did all happen in Chiang Mai. So we were kind of like, we finished off the rest of our time in Thailand. Chiang Mai was the last destination in Thailand. So I think we might have had 2 weeks up in Chiang Mai before we left. And I got contacted by a company in China, a random email. And I obviously go through everything as like brand deals and everything like that. And this one I was a little bit suspect of, because obviously like we get all random emails, and this kind of looked like one of those, but it sort of said about like potential work in China. You've done really well. You've already started to build an audience here. And we're a management company, like a talent management company, and we'd like to basically put your content on Chinese social media, and work with us in that way. And they would translate everything, and we would be kind of like a partnership sort of thing.
I think like we kind of looked at it, and do you remember us just going, we haven't really got much to lose here. Like, this can either work or not work. And there was one thing that we really wanted with China, and we wanted to go on the Great Wall.
Yeah.
And we wanted that so badly. And we're like, oh, this company, well, if we can get a business visa with them, if it works, we can get in for longer and go to the Great Wall. So we actually just sort of like went, there's nothing to lose. We looked through the contract and just went, well, why not?
Let's go for it.
Say yes more.
Yeah.
And there was the main thing was definitely about the Great Wall, and then we looked at more, and then there was more that we definitely wanted to be doing in China. But that is it. Basically, we got an email. We
investigated it more. We got the contract, and I did drop in the fact that we really wanted to go to China properly and travel there. And the big goal for us was to get on the Great Wall of China. We have this kind of long-term vision that we see each of the 7 wonders of the world. We've currently seen the Colosseum in Rome, and now the Great Wall of China. So that was one of them we really wanted to tick off, and they were really enthusiastic about us going. They really wanted us to go. They would look after our visa. They'd sort everything out.
When you get stuff like this, like, it's really like, oh goodness me, like what are they wanting back? And I think me and you No, I do actually clearly remember it. I was in the shower at Chiang Mai as you came off the phone call to them, this crazy phone call. And we were just there jumping in the bathroom. I think like I made you talk through it whilst I was in the shower, so because I couldn't wait. And then I remember just going, what is there to lose?
Yeah.
And now looking back at it, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
we used to be so daring.
Yeah, we lived
like-
by the thing of say yes more.
Yeah.
So it's like, where are the flaws? Okay, there's not many.
No.
We will just go with it and see
Yeah.
what happens. And it was another situation of where I just had this idea that I just sprung on you, and it was like,
Whilst I was in the shower.
yeah, Samira, would you want to go to China again?
Does
How
it
do
mean
you-
I get on the Great Wall? Yes, please.
So that is the story of why we started working with them. Okay, so we went for that second tour, and it was in March
Yeah.
2024, so
Yes.
last year, and we got the business visa for 2 months, and then we could extend while we're there for a
Which
third month.
it was nerve-wracking getting that visa.
Yes.
We had to jump through hoops. So we got our visa from KL because in Penang, where we used our little base, they literally just closed their embassy. So we had to...
It'd be so much easier.
It would have been.
if that was
It
available.
would have been. It was so crazy. We had to go there, and they kept our passports. So we then had to come back to Penang and then get back to KL without flying because we had no passports.
It was the first time
Yeah, we were nervy.
we were passportless
Oh,
since leaving the UK, and the only time, apart from when we've had to get the visas.
Oh.
So it's like, are we going to be okay here?
yeah, that was
Leaving
really...
our
I'm
passports?
telling you, that was so nerve-wracking.
It was. And actually getting like the confirmation that we'd got the visa.
Yeah.
It was everything. Thankfully, we got granted the visas, and they come back and they're a full page in your passport,
goodness.
stuck in there. They looked pretty cool. It was quite we celebrated. It was a big moment, and we got it. And then we're on our way for our big tour, and it was really exciting. We were going in. But my big question to you is,
Oh.
do you recall the first brand deal / job that we did with this company? And if you do remember it, what was it?
The answer is yes. I do
Okay.
remember. And it wasn't really a brand deal. It was kind of like an activity collaboration for this company to be on our channel and us have an experience. And it was the most bizarre experience. And we spent the day with lion dancers
Yeah.
and learnt how to lion dance. Even got gifted the lion's head.
Yeah, that was the kind of like what we got for the collaboration.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a paid collaboration. We were there, and it was our first thing. We were touching base, and I could see why the company did it in a way. It was like content for our channel, doing something traditional, and it was working with this lion dance.
It was in the most random place on this river as well. But the girls really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just remember that this is also another thing that I now know, that you get so many gifts. You just get given so much stuff, and we're there. We've gone backpacking. We've left stuff in storage that we're really light, so we can go on high speed rails and be really light and whatever else. And they gifted us this huge lion's head. It was huge. We were getting back on the metro
Yeah.
in rush hour in China, which personal space just isn't a thing over there. And it was rush hour, and it was super busy. And you got on the metro
I did.
with this
the lion's head.
lion head. And what happened to it? Just tell me, because
So it was rush hour. First of all, they gave us this lion's head.
and you had to go through security.
Oh, everything. I had to put the lion's head on, like, because when
conveyor belt.
you go in China, even local metro stations have security. Like, you put your stuff through a conveyor belt. So I had to put the lion's head through the conveyor belt, and then it was rush hour, so I had to get on the metro with a lion's head, and everybody piles on the metro. There's literally, you think there's
Just
no
to let
more
you know, it's
people.
not a Western lion's head.
No.
It's not a lion.
No.
It's a dragon, like a Chinese dragon head.
Like a lion
And
dance
it's
head.
molded. It's molded. What's it called? Paper mache.
Like papier-mâché.
Yeah.
And it's huge. And I had to squeeze on this metro rush hour. And
With 3 children.
Yeah, and the lion's head got stuck on someone's bag, like
their
on the
zip.
zipper.
Oh
So,
my
like,
goodness! And they didn't notice.
Literally, no, they didn't notice. So the head of the lion was connected to someone's bag in rush hour. They started moving away, and like I realised it was stuck. So there was a whole problem of trying to release the lion's head.
Bearing in mind, there's a language barrier as well.
Full on language barrier. We managed to like separate the lion's head and the bag.
No, you managed to swiftly rip
it like
away.
plastic packaging.
Yeah.
I was like tore it off, but
the guy was none the wiser. They had a bit of like plastic attached now to his bag.
It was one of those moments where you just won't forget it. It was crazy. We obviously we're traveling round, like we couldn't take this lion's head with us, and like for the time we were in Guangzhou, we were there for like another week or so, and this lion's head was just in our hotel room the whole time. But luckily the company like took it to their offices, and it still is there to this day. It was a moment, but that was our first collaboration.
Yeah, that was,
and it, we went with an open mind.
Oh, it was so funny. But I think it was a kind of got to be there moment. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's that funny, but it was absolutely hilarious. That then moves me swiftly on to how many cities did we visit in China?
Yeah.
And can you list all of the names of them?
Guangzhou 1, Xiamen 2, Hangzhou 3, Shanghai 4, Shenzhen 5, Chengdu,
Yeah.
Xi'an,
Yeah.
and Beijing.
Yes. On that tour, that was the
tour, over those 3 months, we did 8 cities.
8 cities. So we started off in the south.
Yeah.
And we kind of made our way up. Then we went ping to the left, Chengdu, then ping back in, and then up to the top, and we exited from the top.
From Beijing.
But I think like it wasn't quite the smooth because we were working with a company, and obviously we were getting brand deals, so we kind of went up a bit, and then woo.
Well, we had to eventually, after 2 or 3 of these kind of like collaborations that were almost just experiences, we then got the first couple of paid brand deals in, and they were really good. Really good. So we went to 8 different cities. My question to you is, out of all 8 of those places, so I'll just go through them again: Guangzhou, Xiamen, Hangzhou, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Chengdu, Xi'an, and Beijing. Out of all those, which was your favourite city and why?
Now I've got one that I'm going to say. And it's not based on the fact that like I love that city and I want to go back and I want to be in that city and whatever else, but it's a city that really did shock me and I really enjoyed it.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Okay, you ready? I think you're going to get it wrong.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just play a guessing game and then you can answer the question.
Okay.
I'm going to try and telepathically work out what you're saying.
Yeah.
Xi'an.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I just knew. Go on.
Okay, so Xi'an, and that is where the terracotta warriors are. Yeah. And I think that was, the girls really enjoyed that. The homeschooling research about that was insane. The city, the vibe, the Irish bar that was there, the city wall, everything there was so historic. Everything was nice. The vibe was really nice. We had the hot pot there, which we'll go on to more.
We stayed in a nice location.
We did have to go to the police station, which was one of our really viral videos that we did do. Just to register that you were in that area, because basically the hotel didn't register us, which normally the hotel does do. So we just had to go to the police station and go, by the way, we're in this area of China. And they're like, oh, okay. Whilst we're saying that, but that was all through translation.
Yes.
So it was a little bit, well, we were kind of used to it by then, but I was at Xi'an. It's not a place that, like, I'd be like, oh, everyone needs to, like, that is the place to be. I'm saying, like, I was so pleasantly surprised. And most of my experiences being there each day, I thought were overwhelmingly good. They'd been there for a while, so the girls were speaking Chinese and trying it with people.
There's a lot of history there.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Yeah, I think that I knew it was going to be that.
Yeah.
And I could say, yeah, it was very, very good.
Okay.
Your question from me.
My question to you is, what shocked you the most about China? What shocked you?
I think that when you think about China, you think, I certainly thought about technology, but it didn't shock me as such. And like the buildings with the holograms, it's because I'd seen it, so I wasn't too shocked. I think the most shocking factor, well, actually, I'm going to be honest. So I could say that it was the payment system, because that was fairly shocking. And working out how to pay for things with Alipay and WeChat, and that everybody has it regardless, even like the older
Even
generation.
if you're there and you're at a market,
Yes.
or if you've just got a vendor where you're selling just fruit,
Yeah.
like
There's just a QR code,
Yeah.
laminated, and that's how you pay that person. That was shocking and surprising, and I had to learn that. I didn't know it was like that. I'd say the most shocking thing, though, if I'm honest, was the difference in the culture of like talking. So, like in China, it's just a little bit different when you're talking to people. So there is a language barrier, but they're very forward, and they will talk to you like full on Chinese that you don't really understand, and it'll seem like they're being maybe a bit aggressive or a bit really direct, and that they're annoyed or they're shouting, but I quickly learned that they weren't. It was just how it was. I think they were probably talking a little bit louder so that I would maybe understand what they were saying. But I think that was the biggest shock of like, because I'm British, it was like, ooh, sorry. Or, you're always sort of like apologizing for things and concerned about other people, or, getting into tax and things. It was like, oh, can we fit our bags in? And would you mind if I put the bag on the front? And these people, they do just talk at you quite loudly. And I'd say that was the biggest shock factor. And it wasn't until we got the translator and worked all that out that you could really work out what they were saying. That actually it wasn't an issue.
No, I think I definitely agree. It's like the tone also. Even like their physical arm
it's quite,
actions
like,
to each other.
Forward, to the point.
Loud. A little bit aggressive, I'd say. Yeah.
And that was a massive difference to obviously what we're used to.
Yeah.
So I'd say that was the most shocking thing that I had to adapt to like pretty quickly. And it was the most thing that stood out. It was like, whoa, okay, that's different. I'm going to have to get used to that. So my question to you is about, we went to those 8 different cities. Now, China's massive. It's absolutely huge.
It's so much bigger than you think.
So much bigger than you think. But yeah, like we spoke about the high-speed rail and the connections. Obviously, they've got...
Which was the longest one we went on? 9 hours, was it?
I think 9.
Oh, and you know what? I was just going to say this as a little bit of a bonus. I was on like the heaviest period on that 9-hour train journey. And, the high speed rails can kind of be like a bit of a hit and miss. You can get a really nice one that is fancy and new. And then you can get the little bit older ones. And just, sorry, I'm going massively on a side note, but I have to let everyone know about the toilet situation in China that I had no idea about. Now, basically, in public toilets, they find it disgusting that you sit on a potty. They call it a potty. They have them in homes, and in your hotels you have a potty, but in public toilets there's all the flat ones where you just squat, because they do it for hygiene reasons. And this particular train didn't have any potty options, and the toilet facilities were terrible. And
I recall
it was on for 9 hours.
You're telling me that you went in there and things were slushing around the floor of the toilet. Is that true?
It was pretty difficult, and I was very heavily on my period, so it meant like an hour I was going to the toilet to sort myself out. And my goodness, yeah, just brings me to it. But just for anyone, there you go. The toilets for me were pretty shocking, and it was a cultural thing that I didn't even realise would be there. And I've never thought of potties and like sitting on the toilet seat. And I know people have this thing about sitting on public toilet seats, but they really have it. They really have it.
Yeah, it's the same here in Malaysia. It's the same in Qatar, in Dubai.
There's way more potties
but
here.
There's more, like certainly Malaysia, when you go to malls and stuff, there's both options.
I don't
think... got the sign on the door and you've got it. But in China, it was evident that externally, in some places, there was no of the toilet that we would consider normal.
Yeah, I now call it a potty because now that's what
and
everyone
certainly
calls
on high-speed rail for 9 hours, that was quite difficult. Travelling on high-speed rail, and you've obviously got domestic flights all through China, it's very easy and accessible to cover the whole of China and get around from A to B, north to south, east to west, quite reasonably well over a shorter period of time because they've got the infrastructure. And it's one thing I always think back to the UK of like how it seems so hard. Like I used to live in Leeds and London used to feel like it was on the other side of the planet. It's like, we're going to London. And it's like, it's miles away. It used to take hours to get there. And it's just mental when you think of the size of the UK compared to China. And China literally can cover it. So we covered a lot of China.
Yeah, we did.
And going to these cities, I mean, when I'm talking about Shanghai and Chengdu, you don't realise that Shanghai's massively like on the...
We actually caught a flight. That was a flight.
That was a flight, but Shanghai's massively on the east of China.
Yeah.
And Chengdu is like really central. Each province has got a different sort of type of food. They've got a food that they're proud of, like their signature thing. So I want to know, out of all of the 8 places that we went to, what was your favourite food and why?
Okay, now food and China was kind of like a love-hate relationship for me. So providing for a family of 5, which I take on all the feeding and everything for young children as well, it just becomes very difficult. And there are so many barriers. Children need to eat 3 times minimum a day. Otherwise they get the sugar lows and whatever else, and then snacks in between as well. So this did fastly become a problem of I need to be able to find food that they're eating all the time and they're enjoying it and they're nourished and they're okay. I'll go on to your question about my favourite place, but I feel like I want to dive into the food situation because we arrived in China and we're like, wow, the food is so, so good. And like you get noodles and beef noodles. And then
I think it's really important to speak about this because if you've never been to China, certainly from the UK,
it's not a chicken chow mein on every corner.
Or a chop suey. Or, like China. Yeah, it's not a Chinese takeaway food.
No, but everyone says that. Everyone says that. I mean, in the UK, you go, oh, no, we know this isn't Chinese food, getting Chinese takeaway with this. Let's get a Chinese takeaway. You know that. But my goodness, that was a hard one to deal with. 1, you got to translate what is in the food. 2, you got to work out if it's spicy or not. 3, you're not quite sure if they've understood you whilst you're ordering it. So I quick and fast turned into, because we were there for 3 months, into a lot would be ordered into the hotel. So I then had to use Alipay, where I'd go on and order it whilst translating it through Google Maps because we couldn't translate.
Google Translate, not Google Maps.
Oh, yeah. Not Google Maps.
Translate.
Okay, sorry, I've got that wrong. Yeah. Google translates, and I'd have to wait for it to load, and I'd have to find somewhere nearby. And then the hardest thing I found was finding the address for the hotel in Chinese and being able to put that into Alipay, which 9 times out of 10, I'd have to go to the receptionist and ask them. Always happy to help. I could do this and I could get most of your fast food. You can get your McDonald's, your Burger King. Papa John's is big over there.
They've got Papa John's in China.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
mad.
we had a few Papa John's.
A few is absolute understatement.
They've also got Taco Bell.
Yeah, Taco Bell and Starbucks, obviously.
Yeah,
Those
Burger King.
Caesar salad wraps.
Yeah, from Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we obviously sometimes we just wanted the Western comforts.
Yes, I'm talking
And
about 3 meals a
you
day.
can-
This is what I'm talking
yes.
about. I'm talking about 3 meals a day that don't upset your tummy, because we did end up having a few upset tummies, including the children as well. So that was something. And I could order off Alipay, and it was something really cool. Like, it would go to the hotel and then a kind of robot just delivered it to you, no matter what hotel we're in.
They'd have a robot.
They'd have a robot and then like ring your thing and open it, and you go, thank
you
you
open
very
your
much.
door, like
The
your
girls were so
telephone-
excited about it.
Your room telephone rings, and it's like a weird voice, like a robotic voice.
In Chinese.
Yeah,
Not aggressive. Chris
you-
didn't get offended by it. So
and you just know it's the robot.
Yeah.
And if you look at your hotel door,
There's a
underneath,
green
there's like a
light.
flashing light coming from the door.
Yeah.
So you're like, we've got to get pretty excited about that for green.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's food.
yeah.
So like,
I got the right address. It's
Yeah.
fine.
And you open your door and there's just this robot there.
Yeah.
And you press the button and the thing opens and your food's there. And that happens everywhere. It's so normal there.
It's so normal. So I'm talking about all of this normal kind of food thing. One of our main foods that became a staple was this, the girls loved and we loved, was this noodle pot that was like a spaghetti bolognese Chinese noodle pot from Lawson's.
Yeah, which is Lawson's is there, like that's everywhere, like their 7-Eleven or like
But they
their-
do have a 7-Eleven, but
Yeah.
it's not as well equipped or as in many provinces as Lawson's
I'd say
is.
Lawson was their main convenience store.
Co-op.
Yeah, like their co-op.
Yeah.
So a Tesco Express in
Yeah.
a way. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Lawson.
so we'd get like a noodle pot from there, which was like a spaghetti bolognese. But going for my favourite food, okay, you got
Yeah, let's
many options.
Let's go for your favourite food from
Okay,
your and
this
why.
is going to shock you because it's not your favourite one. I know what your favourite one is. My favourite food experience and the food was the Peking duck in Beijing.
Okay.
And we had we were on a huge brand deal. What
Yeah.
was the name of that brand deal?
It was the translator earbuds
Yes, yeah.
from Flytech.
Yeah, that's it. And we were there and we'd got the waiters involved in the translation because he could actually speak English. And we're like, no, we need to speak Chinese for it.
It was like a translator electronic
Yeah.
earbuds, like AirPods. Put them in your ear, and then you held your phone, and you could literally have a conversation with someone in Chinese.
Real time.
It worked in real time. But just as we've been talking about this, you can tell like the locals, the Chinese people, are incredibly friendly, incredibly helpful. They want to help no
Yeah.
matter what. So this guy, he could speak English, so it was good. But we wanted him to speak Chinese.
Yeah.
For the video, but he was more than willing to be in the video, to be he
Oh,
was
he
well
loved
nice
it.
to
He
us.
loved it. Well, I think by this point, this was Beijing, so we're pretty much well known by then, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, that was my experience because we actually had a whole duck, roasted duck, brought out to us, which we called the Hutchinson duck. And then we had it in the little pancakes.
Yeah. Oh, it was
and with the
nice.
sauce and with the cucumbers and
Yeah.
the carrots. So that was my favourite, and
I
it
think
comes with
that's
a
a
good
strong-
story.
it's a strong-
And it was actually cheaper than a Nando's.
Yeah,
and
it
it was a
was.
really plush restaurant. And
We had
I
like a
acc-
chef with
I-
us slicing up the duck.
and I accidentally ordered a whole bottle of white wine.
Yeah. It was. I mean, this was like central peak Beijing.
Yeah.
Like central.
Yeah.
And it was a really reasonable price.
Yeah. It was
So-
really, really nice. So that was my favourite
Excellent.
food. And I loved the Peking duck. Right, now I'm just going to throw that back at you. Just quick ping answer because I know what yours is and everyone will be interested in that.
Mine is the Chengdu hot pot.
Ooh, so it's not the Jian.
No,
and it's
Chengdu.
not the Chongqing.
No, it's Chengdu.
Controversial.
I do like the Chongqing. They're all very similar, but I'm picking Chengdu
Oh.
because Chengdu was the first real experience. And we had this guy who would like he was performing, and he had like masks on.
Yeah.
So we were eating this hot pot, all this experience. It was really busy now. I think this was like the most popular hot pot place in Chengdu.
Well,
And
we
Chengdu's
accidentally went
dish-
there. We were like, went up a floor, and these women just kind of took
just
us in and
dragged
talked
us in.
to us.
But Chengdu's dish is
Yeah.
hot pot.
Yeah.
So the whole thing that was hot pot is my favorite.
I knew
Chinese meal.
that. It was. I nearly did say that, but the Peking duck for me just won on taste. But the experience, the gals absolutely loved it. You even get hair ties to tie your hair up so it doesn't go in the hot pot. Like this is all the things in China they just think of, and you just get given it. There are so many food
I think as well,
stories.
if you are thinking about going to China, 100%, you must try the local stuff and the main dishes of the places.
Yes.
But knowing that you can get home comforts and things, if you're not fancying something maybe that you're not used to, you can get stuff that you are used to, and order it through Alipay. It comes to your hotel, job done.
So this is on to my question, because it's like where the big story comes with us in China.
Yeah.
And I want to know if you actually know it.
Yeah.
When was our most most viral TikTok video, which in China is called Douyin?
Yeah, so TikTok is originally Chinese, and it was originally called Douyin, and that translates into TikTok, but they have Douyin, which is their TikTok, and then TikTok, as we know it, is Western TikTok. So I would say we're talking about internally in China, because externally from China, things had already started kicking off and already got good views, certainly on YouTube and TikTok. But internally in China, Douyin was the biggest platform, and it went massive. But they also have Bilibili, which is their version of YouTube. And we'd already got some videos out on YouTube that had done pretty well, and on Bilibili. So it had already done okay. But when we made the transition, the company we're working with, they made the transition of putting our short form content onto Douyin. So our Western TikTok onto Chinese TikTok. And that's when it really blew up. And the reason why they started to put our content on Douyin is because our Western TikTok videos were going really, really well and getting big numbers. And then people in China were ripping our videos off of TikTok and putting them on Douyin, Chinese TikTok, and they were getting loads of views. So the company was like, okay, we should put them on, because they originally weren't going to do that for us, because they said that basically, obviously, the language barrier, we directly talked to the camera and they didn't think it would work. And I remember the first few videos that went onto Douyin, and it was a one about us. We arrived in China, and basically, obviously, because of the language barrier, we got dropped off at a hotel at 1 a.m. in the morning, and we had no idea where we were. We couldn't find the hotel.
Google Maps did not work.
Google Maps didn't work. We were literally walking around lost at 1 a.m. So obviously we filmed it all.
It was on a Friday night.
It was on a Friday night. Central Guangzhou, which is a major city. We filmed it all for YouTube and for TikTok, and they decided to put that video on Douyin, and it went to millions of views.
It went to trending all over China.
Yeah, it was in the top, maybe like number 2 in the whole of China.
So you get kind of alerts and like this hot topic.
Yeah.
And we were burned out on that.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. That was the beginning of the insane journey.
I think the word
Little
for
did
it.
you know when you were there with your lion head attached to someone's bag that we would end up in the Grand Hyatt in Beijing for free.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
All inclusive.
All inclusive to the Grand Club. The girls getting invited in by the head manager by their names, and us going to the buffet, and I get introduced to the head French chef.
That was like the end of the story. And that was that was what we'd grown into. But yes, that was the turning point.
Yeah.
And literally
There was no turning point. It just happened.
it went from A to B, it blew up, and we were trending. I think it was like the second most popular video in the whole of China for that period.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the company we're working with, they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And things started to change for us very, very quickly at that point.
Very quickly.
We just wrapped up. We were nearly at the end of the first city, basically.
Yes,
And yeah, things started to get very interesting.
they did.
Okay, so my next question going on to you is, when did it become evident that we were starting to get pretty famous there?
Well, I think this is the main thing. Like, when we first went to China on the 144-hour visa, it became like quite obvious that people were very interested in us anyway. We were blonde haired, we had 3 children, which we've now found out that having 3 girls is seen as really lucky in the Chinese culture. So when we first arrived in the 144-hour visa, if we slowed down a little bit to take a photo and be like, oh, I want to take a photo of here, take this moment, we would then get bombarded with people wanting to take photos with the girls, with us, like the normal stuff, but on steroids.
Yeah, they would like be filming us just doing our stuff.
Yeah, we've named it a stealthy.
Yes,
okay.
stealthy.
So people pretend they're filming something and you walk past, and then suddenly the filming of that area just goes on to you.
Yeah.
And we call it stealthy.
It's like they're sneakily filming you. And that was happening before we did Chinese social media.
So that kind of was it. I don't know where all of these millions of photos went to.
No.
But it became quite evident very quickly because people would say, oh, Hutchinsons, and then they would get up an image of us and go, it's you.
Yeah.
And then they would try and translate and they're like, oh yeah. And we go, oh, you want a photo? That's fine. And we'd take a photo.
They'd get really like excited.
Yeah. I think it even came to this point of, it was in Xi'an and we were about to get into the Didi, and I think we were actually going to see the Terracotta Warriors, so I was like really giddy about going. And like, you were getting in the Didi, which is a taxi in China. You're getting in all strapped into this luxury 6-seater with massage chairs, which I absolutely love. You were getting in and I was like, what? Why can I can hear Chris's voice. And I turned around and someone was walking past listening to your voice on their phone on Douyin. And
they would shout Douyin at us.
yes,
and that's how we'd be like, yeah, that's us.
and
like,
they'd quickly get up our profile and just show it to us.
Yeah.
But these people were a little bit more like, they were literally starstruck
Yes.
that they bumped into us, and they'd be really polite about asking for a photo. I'd really ask about it and like be like, oh, I'm so happy to see you, and then they would say that we need to go to their place. There's obviously still the language barrier in, but everyone just got out their phones and was translating.
That's one thing I think that's important, that they will use their phone.
Yeah,
and they will just translate. They just do it. They know.
Yeah.
And they're more than happy to talk to you with their translator, and then it's just how it works.
Yeah.
So if you go there, he's going to work. You're going to be fine.
But there's this weird, odd silence.
Yeah.
And they
And
go
then
on
you
their
get-
phone, and then you know they're going to be typing something, and then they just go,
Yeah.
and it's just what it is. They do just translate
It's
for you.
such an experience.
It is, becoming famous happened really quickly, and would land or have arrived in a new province, and there was photos of us on the high-speed rail that had gone up on our Douyin.
I think that
And tagged in. But I must say, out of all of it, because anyone that is traveling with 3 children, you will know that you have mum face that goes on, and yeah, you do tell them off. You have to. You're out and about. No one ever put a photo up of me telling the girls up.
Yeah. Or if we'd been out and we'd been disgruntled, or
Yeah.
there was never a picture of us looking unhappy.
There was never a picture of me holding Chris by the throat.
Yeah, pinned on the floor
Yeah.
and behind my back. No, they were super respectful of that.
Yes.
So they will take photographs of you. If you'd go, never mind the social media, if you just go and you're a British family or whatever, you will draw attention to you,
Yeah.
and they will be interested and they will take photographs of
Yes.
you. But yeah, things went to a really insane other level for us. And I think that the most evident thing for me was that we would get on a high-speed rail for 5 hours.
Yes.
We'd go from one province completely to another province that was hours away, like miles away from where we were, and people would know us straight away.
Yes.
And they'd be shouting Douyin, and they'd be taking photographs of us. So we were well known and famous all over the country, and it just got bigger and bigger.
It did. It got really, really big. And the girls were just absolutely fantastic with the photos. They loved it. They got the 2 fingers out. They're not the swearing fingers.
No, the peace sign,
The
which
peace
is like the
sign, sorry.
national thing what everyone does over there. You just didn't realise at the time how big things had got and how many people had seen us. And we became this British family with 3 young girls, blonde-haired children, travelling around
Bearing in
China.
mind that 3 children, which, not speaking too much of, but there was obviously the restriction on how many children they could have a couple of years ago.
So it was like a real special thing to have 3 children.
Yeah,
like we
and
had.
3 girls.
Yeah.
That's really lucky in China. That's something I cannot say more.
Yeah.
It's really lucky to have 3 girls in China.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
it
know
was-
why.
No, I don't know why, but we kept getting told that.
Yeah.
But one thing is to understand the grand scale of things. Our most viewed video on Douyin was 27 million views.
Wow.
And that was like every single video was 2 to 3 million on
Yes.
Douyin.
Yeah. No matter what it was.
Well, no matter
what
it was.
we're doing.
So it grew and went crazy. And when you think about those numbers, you just realise why it happened and
And
how-
we were the trending thing. So basically every brand that was wherever we were wanted to work
Yes,
with us.
yeah.
So that just leads me on to my next
Okay,
question.
Okay.
My next question is, what was the most surreal, amazing, incredible, all of those words, what brand deal sticks out for you in your mind of what we did? There's so many.
I think that there is so many. There were so many pinch me moments and loads of incredible things. I definitely, you've already spoke about it, the Grand Hyatt. The Grand Hyatt in Beijing, we did loads of brand deals. We worked some amazing companies and we really grew over there. But coming up to Beijing, it was the final destination before we left China. We'd had this incredible 3 months and we got given a collaboration with the Grand Hyatt. We had 2 weeks in a suite, like a 2-bedroom suite in the Grand Hyatt. It's a beautiful hotel, 5-star. We got given grand club entrance, which basically is all inclusive.
And the cheese.
Food. Yeah, we got cheese and wine. Like,
Prosecco.
yeah, it was the utmost luxury, and like the general manager of the hotel knew us. He'd watched our whole journey through China. He knew our names. We were welcomed in. One funny story is when we were there, so we were doing this deal, we were staying, and we noticed loads of security one day. And when we went into the hotel back, we'd been out for the day, there was like airport security scanners. And I was like, wow, this is a bit different. Somebody must be staying here. And I think it was like the president of Libya or something.
I don't know. I don't know if we can disclose it. So
No, I don't
just
know.
bleep that out.
That might be top secret.
Yeah.
but It was definitely the president of a country. And there was loads
That's it.
of
We're not
guys.
allowed back in now.
No, there was loads of guys in army uniforms and everything, very like military, and then these high-profile people. They were staying at the Grand Hyatt, and these people were obviously in the foyer area, and they were talking to like the managers at the Grand Hyatt, and we walked in like back from our day.
I think we've been to the Great Wall.
Yeah, it might have been the Great Wall
Yeah.
Day. And the management at the Grand Hyatt literally completely just like
Blanked all the
hied
others.
off these big world leaders and directly came to us.
And greeted us.
Greeted us, asked us how our day was. It was a really funny moment to be like, this is how far we came in China. It just became the most surreal story, and still to this day, we can't believe some of the things that happened. But I'd say that was the most pinch me like moment of wow, this became something really big.
Right, we could speak for
Yes.
about 10 hours and ask so many questions, and we might revisit this on another podcast episode, and we might actually do a little bit of a series on it.
It is a subject that we could talk about because, as you can see, we've got so many memories from there. But I think that it's one of those things that's been imprinted on us of things that have happened to us that we will never forget. And it was a real turning point in our whole career of social media. When we came back from China, things were different, and it changed everything. And the actual like tour of the place, the tour 1, because we did do a tour 2 as well. We loved it. There was so many different like places, so many different provinces, all of the things, the food, everything. It is a complete different world, and if you are thinking about going there, you should go, and you will learn so much, you will experience so much, and the people are incredibly friendly, they're incredibly helpful, and it really is just something that we personally will never forget. And we're so thankful that we took that original leap to go on the
On a
transit
visa.
Yeah, go on the
From
transit
China.
visa to Shanghai, and that was the start of this snowball effect. It was crazy.
I think coming out of China, I think that it has really opened our eyes to the way that we see living and how things are. We can talk about China, like about the blocks of how many people are there. We can talk
in
about
the buildings, the living. It's honestly, it is a different world altogether. And we've been to 16, 17 different countries now. China is a world of its own, and we could talk and talk and talk about it. It's one of those, if you think about going, you want to go, you should go.
I can definitely say from all of us as a family of 5, China did change us with how we saw business online. I had no idea how important it was in China and seen seriously social media, which has changed my opinion on it. It gave us so many experiences of how to deal with business, especially dealing with social media business.
Yep.
You learned so much
I
how
learnt
to
a lot.
negotiate.
Yeah.
Everything, and then our whole outlook has completely changed. So it hasn't just gone okay, it catapulted us slightly and made us go wow. It changed us as people, it developed us as people, and it changed our outlook basically on a lot
On
of
everything.
things.
It changed everything.
It did change
Not
everything.
just like you said, not just career, not just social media, like life. It
And what
changed
we
everything.
saw and what we were involved in, in all the times, all of the times that we went there in the different provinces, I think me and you can definitely agree that we look on life slightly differently now.
After that.
And it's a warm, nice feeling,
Yeah.
and I just feel like our eyes were opened a little bit and massively, and now we're a bit more freer in how we think about stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, wow, I went really deep then. I'm
No,
sorry.
I think that's so true. It is. It really is true.
I don't know why I went so deep just then. I just went into this whole massive, deep, like psychological thing. But anyway, Chris has whipped his phone out,
Yes,
which
because
means it's time
We're getting
for-
towards the end of the episode.
Finally, maybe we could just carry on talking.
We could carry on talking, but we've got to go on to destination spin.
Ooh,
Okay.
are you going to do the theme?
Destination spin, not Bluey. So we are going to be
Not influenced by our children at all.
we are going to be doing destination spin here. But since it's China episode, we've got several different cities we've visited in China, and there's some from Tour 1, Tour 2. So I'm just going to press the button.
How many are on there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
7 different places. It's gone. And the destination is Beijing.
Beijing. All right, I've got one.
You've got one. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to tell a story from Beijing.
Okay, I don't know if this is funny or not funny, but I'm going to go for it. But this is a big story in Beijing. We had gone to Universal in Beijing, which was absolutely phenomenal. But the girls had gone on with you to the Harry Potter ride, and I'd stayed with Bella. And I sat there with Bella, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like the castle was amazing. And like the girls like went and they were gone for like a while, and then they came back and they're like, "Oh, mummy, it's so good, mummy, you've got to go on it." I was
It
like,
was really good, by the way. It was so good. The whole Harry Potter area there was fantastic.
"Oh yeah," like the wands and the interactive stuff was absolutely amazing. So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go on." Like, so we did this like rotator that I just went on my own, because you went on with Olivia and Scarlett, and you stayed with Bella. And I think you got the, what was it? The drink, what's it called?
Butterbeer.
Yeah, you got the butterbeer.
Yeah.
So I shuffled on up on my own. I was like, I've got to have this experience. I'm here and I'm going to go do it. So I jumped on, and I love rides and everything. And oh my goodness, this Harry Potter ride was insane. You're like on a roller coaster, but then you have visual effects and models of Dementors and
massive spiders. Yeah.
And everything. It was all black, and the emotion is moving you in this. You've got the roller coaster thing over your shoulders, so you're moving around. I was like thinking to myself, "Oh my goodness, how did Scarlett, our 8-year-old, deal with this?" I was like, wow. And they convinced me to come on. And then suddenly, bang, everything went pitch black and nothing moved, and we were just frozen, and it went silent. And then there was an announcement in Chinese. I had no idea what it was saying. My legs were just dangling just where a Dementor was just hanging. I was like, oh my goodness, I have no idea. I've not got my phone to translate what this thing is. Like, what we're doing, staying here for a couple of hours, or what's going on. So I had sheer panic, and then the ride did just like continue after basically a very long, probably 2 minutes.
The machine switched off.
Yes.
in the middle of this Harry Potter ride, which was pretty insane.
It went pitch black, and I was there on my own. I was like, oh my goodness. Came out of it, and that was insane. It was absolutely insane, just like getting stuck there, let alone that Olivia and Scarlett went on that with you and convinced me to go on it. I was horrified. And then I got stuck.
It was,
and
cool.
It was like I didn't understand any Chinese.
You just thought?
No idea what
did you think it was part of the ride that it just switched off?
No, I thought there was desperately something that went wrong.
You knew something.
All the lights went off. Like, it was after the Dementors, and it was after like the spider craziness. It was like we were on a Quidditch match kind of situation. It just went off.
Switched off.
I was like, this is the nice bit. This is the uplifting bit of the ride, and it went boom. It was like Lord Voldemort was right there for a second, speaking in Chinese to me about a security announcement that I had no idea what was going on. But yeah, that is my funny story from Beijing.
And Beijing Universal was absolutely amazing.
Phenomenal.
But you must be aware, like, definitely go if you go to Beijing. Beijing Universal was fantastic. Shanghai Disney, that's another one we did. Absolutely amazing. But be aware that the characters speak Chinese, so they don't speak English, obviously. So it's another experience in itself.
Well, they're very good at acting, so you kind of get the gist of what they're doing anyway.
Yeah.
But really, really good. Really enjoyed that. But we can talk forever about China, and we feel warm about it whilst we speak about it. And it was a phenomenal experience. And I think anyone that has any second thoughts about going there with children, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just go.
You'll be fine.
Get it done.
You'll be fine.
Say yes more.
Yeah. That's our motto. It still is our motto to this day.
I don't know. I don't know if we're so freely of there. Like,
come on.
Being in Chiang Mai, and I'm in the shower and going, do you fancy signing with these people in China?
I don't know. But look, it led us to some incredible places.
It did.
And some amazing experiences. And we
did set foot on the Great Wall of China, and that was actually our 1-year anniversary of being out of the UK, and it was absolutely incredible. So all of that, me going back to Chiang Mai and Chris saying, oh, there's some of these people, you me being in my lane and Chris comes in with a bulldozer and says, let's go do this. I did end up a year anniversary on the Great Wall of China with the 3 girls, and it was absolutely stunning.
It was incredible, and that was the kind of like where we finished the whole China tour. We finished it in Beijing with the Grand Hyatt Hotel collaboration.
Getting stuck on a Harry Potter ride.
And going to the Great Wall and, and to think like the 12-month journey of leaving the UK and not knowing how long it would last and not knowing if things would work out and all that, to being on the Great Wall of China at the 12-month anniversary was incredible.
Yes.
And China really, really did it for us. And it was just incredibly special. So we could continue talking about it all day long. And it really has got some special moments. But we have to wrap this episode up here, episode number 5. We hope that you've got a lot of information out of this. If you're thinking about visiting China, or you're just generally interested, we hope we've given you some good information of our experiences. We wanted to do this episode in a little bit of a different way, asking each other questions about our experiences.
Just let us know, is that something that you enjoyed more? Or do you prefer just the flat out storytelling? I think it kind of ignited a few more kind of conversations between us about things that we hadn't thought about if one was thinking about the other, and it kind of jumped us out. So
it was a little bit of a different way of doing the episode. So please let us know what you thought. Give us a comment. If you're not subscribed yet on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Give us a comment on there. If you follow us on Spotify, drop us a comment. Give us a 5-star review if you can. That will really, really help us. If you're not following on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, just hit that follow button. We really, really appreciate it. And we have done 5 episodes.
And it is coming to. Are you going to reveal the time?
I am. It is 25 to 2 in the morning. So we are. If that doesn't deserve a 5-star review, I don't know what does.
Well, to be fair, we do sit here on most nights talking until about that time, because we annoyingly like talking to each other.
And we have all these stories. You see, all these memories, and we just talk about them, and
we hope you're enjoying them.
Yeah,
we've got our last episode next week.
Yes.
And do we have a theme for that as of yet?
No, it's kind of like the final episode, and we're going to be talking about current situation, what's coming up, how we're taking things forward, maybe what this podcast potentially will end up being in the future.
Yeah.
Basically just talking between ourselves, different subjects and things like that. And that's what's to come next week as kind of like this season finale. So we are going to see you then. Please give us a like, a review, whatever you can. It really, really does help us, and we really, really appreciate it. We hope you've enjoyed episode 5.
I also want to say, if you do listen to us and you enjoy the podcast and everything, please take a little snapshot, tag us on Instagram, and we'll share it.
Yeah, we will.
Because
stories.
We love it. We love getting feedback, knowing about it. And we enjoy doing these because we're just talking to each other, and we really would like to know if anyone else is enjoying listening to us.
Yeah, we absolutely love the feedback, and it helps us shape up what the episodes are going to be. So please let us know. But yeah, we will catch you next week at the same time for episode number 6, the season finale.
So we're doing this again at 20 to 11, finishing at 20 to 2.
Probably.
Oh.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.